We know catalysts are the substances which alter the rate of the reaction, but themselves do not undergo any permanent change. During a reaction, for example, in the case of KClO3, decomposition of KClO3 into KCl and O2, MnO2 is used as the catalyst. KCl changes to KCl. MnO2 is used as the catalyst. Increases the rate of the reaction. Sometimes negative gas catalyst decreases the rate of the reaction. Anyway, generally we use the increased rate of reaction. MnO2 is used as the catalyst. Catalysts work on the basis of adsorption theory only. So on the catalyst, what are the steps for the adsorption theory of catalysis? That is, the substances, the reactants are made to diffuse on the surface of the catalyst, and these reactants get adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. Then these reactants mix together, they react together, and a chemical reaction will be taking place on the surface of the catalyst. After the product being formed, they are getting dissolved on the surface of the catalyst, and then they were diffused away from the surface of the catalyst. These are the adsorption theory of catalysis. Different steps. First one is diffusion of the reactants. Diffusion of the reactants onto the surface of the catalyst. First, we make this reactant molecules, reactants in the gaseous format, they are put on the surface of the catalyst. That is called diffusion of the reactants on the surface of the catalyst. Number two, adsorption. This is the adsorption theory. Adsorption of this reactants on the surface of the catalyst either by van der Waals forces or by chemical bonds. So adsorption of the reactants on the surface of the catalyst. Now these reactants are close to each other. They can collide each other. Number three, that is chemical reaction. Chemical reaction takes place between the reactants on the surface of the catalyst, and the products are formed. Number four, after the products getting formed, they are getting dissolved, that is dissociation. Dissociation from the surface of the catalyst, dissociation of the products from the surface of the catalyst, and they are taken away. That means diffusion. Diffusion of the products from the surface of the catalyst. Their products. There are some other properties of catalysis: homogeneous catalysis, heterogeneous catalysis, activity, selectivity. These terms are removed from your syllabus. And the next is what? Shape selective catalysis. Shape selective. That depends upon the shape of the catalyst and shape of the reactants and products. So catalytic reactions that depends upon the size and shape of the pore structure. It's just like Higgs pore structure. Inside that holes, this reaction will be taking place. So catalytic reaction that depends upon the pore structure. The pore structure of the catalyst and the size and shape of the reactants and products. That is called shape selective catalysis. Example: zeolite shaped material ZSM5. Different numbers are there. ZSM5 that is used as a catalyst to convert alcohol into petrol, directly into petrol. So that is an example for shape selective catalysis. The catalytic reaction that depends upon the pore structure of the catalyst and the size and shape of the reactants and products molecule is called shape selective catalysis. Then Example is what ZSM5, which directly converts alcohol into petrol means gasoline. Only that much is there for your analysis. Next, we'll be moving to colloids. What is a colloid? Colloid is a heterogeneous system. Colloid is a heterogeneous system in which there are two components. One is a dispersion medium and the other is a dispersed phase. Colloidal particles have got large surface area. Their main property is their large surface area. So many reactions can be taken place on this large surface. It can be easily taken place, many reactions can be easily taken place on this large surface area. You know three types of solutions. One is true solution, one is colloid, and other is suspension. True solution particle size is very small. Colloids are having bigger size, means their surface area is larger. The colloidal range, the size is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. If it is less than 1 nanometer, we say true solution. If it is greater than 1000 nanometer, we say suspension. Colloidal particles are having a size ranging between 1 to 1000 nanometer. Now, these colloids are classified into different types. Based on their dispersed phase and dispersion medium, they are classified into 8 categories. Solution. In the chapter solution, we learned 9 categories of solution. But colloids, 8 categories, because last one, that is in solution we learned solid in liquid, solid in solid, solid in liquid, solid in gas. Liquid in solid, liquid in liquid, liquid in gas. Gas in solid, gas in liquid, gas in gas also there we learn, but here we will not learn gas in gas because it is a homogeneous mixture. Colloids are heterogeneous mixture. So we will learn depending upon the phase of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. On the phase, whether it is solid or liquid, colloids are classified into 8 categories. First one, solid in solid, solid in liquid, solid in gas. Solid in solid, that is called solid solid. Time is called time. Time is called solid solid. Example, colored glass, colored gemstones, solid solid, colored glass. There we learned alloys, solid in solid. Colored glass, gemstones, colored gemstones. Solid in liquid, that is salt. Example, peach. Solid in gas, that is aerosol. Solid in gas, example, smoke. Now, liquid and solid, liquid and liquid, liquid in gas. Liquid and solid, example, type is called gel. Example, butter, cheese, hair cream, butter, cheese. Liquid and liquid, that is called emulsion. That's an important category, emulsion. Emulsion, example, milk. Liquid and liquid. Liquid animal fat is dispersed in water. Animal fat dispersed in water. Liquid and liquid. Dispersed phase is liquid. Dispersed medium is also liquid. Category is called emulsion. And example, milk. Liquid and gas. That is called aerosol. liquid gas, aerosol, example cloud, fog, mist. These are the examples of liquid and gas. Now gas and solid, gas and liquid. Gas and solid, that is foam. Example, sponge, bread, foam rubber. Or sponge or bread. These are gas and solid. Now gas and liquid. This is called solid form or solid solid. You can call it as solid form. In some books it is given solid form and some it is given solid solid. Solid solid or solid form. And gas and liquid. Gas and liquid, that is foam. Soap solution. So these are the types and examples. So this is solid form or solid soap. Here it is foam. Foam rubber is an example for gas in solid. Foam rubber or sponge, etc. Now, this is one category, one type of classification. And the next type of classification of colloids, that is based on the interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Dispersed phase, what is dispersed phase? The substance which get dispersed. What is dispersion medium? In which the substance is getting dispersed. For example, cloud, water molecules. Water is the dispersed phase and air is the dispersion medium. In the case of milk, animal fat is the dispersed phase and water is the dispersion medium. So two components a colloid has. A colloid has two components, that is one dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Based on the attractive forces between dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are classified into two categories: lyophilic and lyophobic colloid. This is another classification. Lyophilic. Philic means love, phobic means phobia. So whether this dispersed phase loves this dispersion medium, lyo, liquid, means liquid loving, liquid hating. So here, liquid loving, here, liquid hating. If you mix starch with water and shake it well, you can prepare a colloid. The dispersed phase, that is starch particle, loves or it has got better attraction with that dispersion medium, water. So simply you mix this starch powder, your maida powder with water and thoroughly you shake and prepare a colloid because there is a greater force of attraction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Gold soap, gold dispersed in water. No force of attraction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Such colloids are called lyophobic colloids. So one is liquid loving and liquid hating. And lyophilic colloids are reversible, but here irreversible. Means you can easily separate. You remove the dispersion medium, you will be getting the dispersed phase. You add dispersion medium, you will be getting the colloid. Remove the dispersed phase, you will be getting the dispersed phase, starch or method. So that is reversible, but the other thing is irreversible. So you cannot easily make this like foamy colloid. Now this is stable, but here not stable. Example, and this cannot be easily coagulated. You cannot settle down the particle easily. Cannot be easily coagulated. Settling down of the particle is called coagulation. Coagulation or flocculation, another word, flocculation or coalescence. All are having same coagulation. When the river water and the sea water, the particles of the river water, that is muddy water, they are having negative charges, they will be cancelled by the positive ions of the sea water, and once they lose the charge, the particles aggregate. If they are having charge, they will be repelling each other. Once they lose the charge, when the charge is replaced by the ions present in the sea water, what happens? The charge is gone, that means the particles become neutral, they aggregate together. And having bigger size and heaviness, they will be falling under gravity. So that is called what we call delta. The delta is formed when the river water enters on the face, when the river water enters the sea water. This delta, what we call dull, that these particles are settling down slowly. Those loose particles are settling down slowly. And you will not see any big stones in there. Very fine particles you see, but they are above the colloidal rings. It's in the suspension format, so they settle down. That is called coagulation. Cannot be easily coagulated. Example: starch solution, starch gum, here builds. Gold particles, very fine particles dispersed in water, is called a gold soap. Okay, if the dispersion medium is alcohol, we call it as alkosol. If the dispersion medium is water, we call it as hydrosol or aquasol. So by simply mixing the dispersed phase and dispersion medium and shaking it well, you can prepare lyophilic colloids. The preparation of lyophilic colloids is easy and it is stable also. Next, based on the type of the particles, again colloids are classified into three categories. They are multimolecular colloid, macromolecular colloid, and associated. Number one, based on the type. Based on the type of the particle, colloids are classified into three. Based on the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are classified into 8. Based on the interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are classified into 2 categories, lyophilic and lyophobic. And based on the type of the particles, colloids are classified into 3 categories. First one is multimolecular colloid. Multimolecular colloid and macromolecular colloid and then associated. Multimolecular colloid, molecules get closer to each other, and when small molecules come close to each other, they aggregate each other, and that particle is having the colloidal rings, the size of the colloidal rings. For example, on dissolution, sulfur particles, 8 sulfur atoms come together to form a bigger molecule, SH, which is having the size of the colloidal ring. We call it as sulfur salt or SH. has eight atoms. So on dissolution, small atoms or molecules, they aggregate together to have colloidal range, to have size in the colloidal range. Example, sulfur soap, that is multimolecular colloid. Macromolecular colloid, there is no need of coming closer and joining. These particles are already in big size. They are already in the colloidal range. So in suitable solvents, they may, in such molecules, suitable solvents, molecules such as proteins, cellulose, etc. They make colloidal solution because their size is already in the colloidal range. So such colloids are called macromolecular colloids. For example, albumin. Albumin. Now, associated colloids. Associated colloids means they are like soap molecules. Soap molecules, long chain. When soap is put in water, for example, C17, H37, C2N. So this one question is minus and this one question is plus. When this is put in water, positive and negative portion gets separated. And this portion is a long fatty portion, long portion. CS3, CS2, CH2, CH2, like that. C17, S37. The long portion we call it like this, with that COO minus. So this portion has got a long hydrocarbon chain. It is non-polar. And this end, this is polar end. One is polar end and the other is non-polar end. Or dirt, D-I-R-T, dirt, oil, grease, they are non-polar. So, like dissolves like means this dirt or grease or oil, these things will be dissolving in this portion, that will be in contact with this portion. And this is polar. If you rinse the dirty clothes, after putting the soap, if you rinse this dirty clothes water, what will happen? This end will be in contact with water. When water flows away, that will be taking this portion also. This is connected to this one, which is connected to the dirt. So the dirt will also be moving. When you rinse the cloth with water, what will happen? Water will be in contact with this polar portion, which is in contact with this non-polar portion. This non-polar portion is contact with the dirt, grease or oil. So on rinsing away this water, when the water flows away, all these things will be going along with the water. That's how the dirty clothes got cleaned. At lower concentration, they act as electrolytes, but at higher concentration, they aggregate together to form a soap missile layer. First, I learned the structure of missile layer in maths 10. In lower concentration, these soap molecules, when soap is put in water, positive and negative portion is important for us. That is C17, H37, COO minus. So we are showing that this minus then will be in contact with the water at lower concentration. But at higher concentration, these are pulled towards the interior and it will be like a globule. And inside, see lots and lots of hydrocarbon particles there that will be in contact with this oil, grease, or dirt. So dirt will be locked fuel. Dirt will be locked fuel. And when you rinse this with water, water will be taking this negative ions, which is that hydrocarbon, in which that dirt is locked and the fluid will be made. So this is the action of soap. Soap missile. So these substances, the lower consumption they act as electrolyte, but with higher consumption, they behave as cleansing agents. Some substances at lower concentration, they behave as electrolyte, but at higher concentration, they exhibit colloidal properties. Such colloids are called associated colloids. We know that between water and oil or grease or dirt, oil does not mix with water. There is a tension called interfacial tension between oil and water. Oil will not mix with water. But if you add soap, soap is having both the ends. Okay. So negative end will be in contact with water and the organic, that is the hydrocarbon end, will be in contact with oil. So there is a connection between now oil and water. So what the soap does? Soap reduces the interfacial tension between water and oil. So this process is called emulsification. Adding soap to this mixture of oil and water or grease and water, that is called emulsification. If you remove that soap, again oil and water will change into two layers. That is called demulsification. The removal of soap is called demulsification. Adding of soap is called emulsification. So, to remove the tension between oil and water or dirt and water or grease and water, what we do, we add little soap or gelatin or gum. These things are emulsifying agents. Removal of soap, that is called demulsification. Next, preparation of some lyophobic color. Lyophilic colloids, you know, that can be easily prepared by mixing this dispersed phase and dispersed medium. But lyophobic colloids, it is not easy to prepare this lyophobic colloids. There should be some special methods to prepare lyophobic colloids. Some are chemical methods, some are electrical disintegration, and some called peptidization. So there are mainly three methods for the preparation of lyophobic colloids. First one is by chemical methods. Chemical methods includes double decomposition, oxidation, reduction, or hydrolysis. For example, double decomposition. We'll continue double decomposition onwards. Thank you all of you.